There is no chat. There is no chat. There is no tomorrow.
Digging through trash cans or the toys my brother Mackie threw away. He always got everything new while I got his scraps. For Christmas, I had to watch Mackie open a second new Tamagotchi in case the first one dies, while I was left with a dead one that had a screen so scratched you couldn't see the pet, even if it did somehow work. Even on my 10th birthday, when I begged for a Game Boy Advance, my family handed me Mackie's old Game Boy Color with a scratched screen that barely worked. It's too expensive, they said, only to buy Mackie a GBA a week later. I tried to complain about it, but my parents immediately shut me down, saying, why waste money when your brother's old one works perfectly fine? And each time he'd get something new, I'd just find it in the trash a week later. It's for babies, Mackie would tell me. But when I found his entire card collection in the trash can, thrown out and forgotten, like how my parents pretty much did with me, I actually felt excited. It was like digging up treasure. I looked around and grabbed it, cleaned up his old premium binder, and admired the restoration. Welcome to the family, I said to the cards before storing it away safely. After that, I fell in love with restoring and collecting everything Mackie threw out. I kept things in their cases so they wouldn't get dusty, made acrylic boxes for other toys, and even saved all my allowance just to buy a limited edition binder for the Pokemon cards. I joined a few online forum groups for toy collectors and picked up on how to restore the dead Tamagotchi and repair the screen. When it started working, I grinned and shared it online. Everyone applauded me, wishing their kids took care of their toys like me. And over the years, I ended up making a lot of friends from these groups, all nerds and geeks whose rooms looked like vintage museums. So when Mackie continued mocking me, saying, your room looks like you're 5, grow up already, it didn't even bother me anymore. 10 years later, the communities I joined became massively popular. The collection I started when I was just 6 ended up being worth more than a fancy full-paid house, but I never sold any of it, not even when my brother mocked me for having a room that deflected girls, or when my parents shamed me for buying toys at my age. Ironically, my brother Mackie ended up having kids of his own that were obsessed with Pokemon cards, just like he used to be. Last month's cards and only wanted the newest packs. Mackie constantly complained about how crazy the prices are nowadays, and how scalpers buy everything. $50 for one pack and I can't even find any. It's insane. He'd rant about his kids crying and crying if they didn't get the exact new set they wanted, never really recognizing how he was exactly the same years ago. But last week, the day before his kid's birthday, Mackie texted me frantically, are you home? Emergency. He showed up looking exhausted with 2 screaming kids trailing behind him. Every store is sold out. Every single day this week, I hunted for those stupid cards. 20 stores. I went to 20 freaking stores while these brats have been crying their eyes out for days. I can't get any sleep, he ranted. I asked which set they needed. I don't know. The new one? The sparkly, shiny Eevee ones. I nodded and escaped to my room. I came back and held up 2 unopened packs. These? His kid's eyes went huge. Wow, uncle, how do you have these? They're sold out everywhere. I grinned. I have a few friends, I said, and asked if they wanted to see my collection room. The room had walls of perfectly preserved games, cards,